As we begin our retreat weekend with the Legion of Mary, we have this beautiful solemnity of the feast of Saints Peter and Paul, and this beautiful reading. And certainly Frank Duff would be very happy having a great devotion to St. Peter, and being a great evangelist himself, and a great love of the church. And so we have a beautiful opportunity to kind of read and investigate what is it that God is telling us in these readings. This weekend's theme is on being the image of God, and looking at the image of God within us, and seeing how Mary just so perfectly reflects the image of God, and how we need to continually look to her. If we set the scene up here in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus is going with the apostles to the region of Caesarea Philippi. Now, this was a city that was built by Caesar, and it was named Philippi. There were lots of such cities built like that in the ancient world. Some were older than others, but some were built by the Roman conquerors. And this particular city is very interesting. It was built on a giant hill, a giant mountain. So it says, when they went into the region of Caesarea Philippi, Jesus asked his disciples. He was like, there was the backdrop of this city on the hill, on a really big rock, you see. And he asked the disciples, the apostles, who do the people say that I am? They gave him all these answers. John the Baptist, come back from the dead, Jeremiah, one of the prophets, and they think they're being very clever at this, because those are just very evasive answers. Well, that's what they're saying you are. And then Jesus said, but who do you say that I am? See, that's like saying, like taking the Baltimore Catechism and saying, who made you? God made me. Why did God made you? God made me to know, love, and serve Him in this world and be happy with Him forever in the next. Okay, you get a big A over here, and then you go back home, and then you beat up your little sister. Like, what's wrong with that? That's like let's just spit out answers that are inappropriate. And that's what they're doing. They're just giving answers back to Jesus, and it doesn't mean anything. How does it take root in my life? And it is Peter. It is Simon Peter, the one who is always listed first in any of the Gospels. Whenever we name the apostles, it's not Andrew. Sorry, I know, just Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. We don't really know who's older, but we just kind of like let Peter have it. Andrew was there first, by the way, in John's Gospel. Andrew found Jesus, and it's interesting. He was the first one. He doesn't go back to Peter later and he says, "I found him first. He's mine." He sees that Peter has a special mission. And he kind of backs away from the limelight, and he lets Peter come forward. And Peter's always the first to speak. Sometimes he gets his foot in his mouth when he's speaking, but he's always the first to speak. He's the first one to speak at Pentecost. He gives an answer now. And so he has a certain headship of the apostles. And Simon Peter said in reply, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. You are the Mashiach, the Messiah. You are the one who was chosen. You are the one who we've been expecting. You're not just any ordinary prophet." And Jesus said to him in reply, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah." Because Peter's name is still Simon at this point. "For flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father." So he says, this insight you've gotten, it's a revelation from God. We see that Peter gets these other types of revelations directly from the Father. Later in the Acts of the Apostles, like chapter 9 or 10. I think it's 10. And then Peter's there, and there's this vision of a giant sheep that comes down. There's all these animals. And some of the animals that are there are the unclean animals. And there's a voice that says, "Take and eat, slaughter, Peter, and eat." And so I've never touched unclean animals before. I'm not going to eat any of that. That's forbidden. And he has this vision 3 times, and the voice says, what God has made clean, do not let man call unclean.